Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're going to be doing another Q&A video where I take your questions from Twitter and I answer them all in this video. Now, in today's Q&A video, we've got obviously a lot of questions about the aftermath of further adventures in Finance and Felony, a little bit looking towards what's in the future of Grand Theft Auto Online, including Cunning Stunts, and a whole lot more. It should be a really great Q&A video. If you want to get involved in the next one, be sure to follow me on both Twitter and Snapchat. Both those links are in the description. I'm going to be taking questions from there. And if you do ask a question, be sure to use the hashtag AskBoss. That way I can find your question easier, and you can possibly be featured in the next video. Okay, so there were two questions in particular that were asked the most and the most frequently. And the first of which was some sort of variation of when do you think the Cunning Stunts DLC will be released? Why do you think it will be released, or what time, or around what event will it be released? That was by far the most frequent question I got. There was like at least 20 or 30 questions asked by that out of the multiple hundred that I received. So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about Cunning Stunts. I know Further Adventures in Finance and Felony just happened, but it's GTA. Everyone loves to look forward to the future and what's next. And Rockstar have not mentioned a ton on Cunning Stunts. In fact, the only thing they've mentioned on their newswire is they stated, like, stay tuned, as we'll be talking about new information on this soon. And granted, that was only a few days ago, and obviously, because Further Adventures in Finance and Felony is so fresh, we haven't really seen any more information on that update. Now I'm torn, and I'm going to give you guys my predictions on this. So if Rockstar is going off of their 2015 DLC release schedule, where they release an update in both June and July, then we may be seeing a new update sooner than we all expected. You guys know Rockstar did Ill-Gotten Gains 1 and then Ill-Gotten Gains 2. They did them in back-to-back months. However, I'm starting to think because those DLCs were so similar, in fact, honestly, I think Rockstar just split it down the middle and decided to release it in two parts as compared to one. I think it may be a little bit longer before we see any information or any real announcement about a release on the Cunning Stunts DLC for two reasons. One, because Finance and Felony was a pretty big DLC. As far as new content, game-changing features, items that were added into the game, it was a pretty robust DLC. And number two, I think Rockstar also kind of want to spread out what they're doing in terms of what they release in Grand Theft Auto Online. They know that this is such an expensive update, people are going to take more time to enjoy it than, let's say, like Benny's DLC, where you just buy one car and you're done. So at the same rate, I don't think they want to rush people. They want to let them recover, enjoy the content. And as we'll touch on a little bit later on in some more questions, I think Cunning Stunts has the potential to be a pretty in-depth and expansive DLC as well. So to give you guys my best prediction, I'm not sure. I would like to hope that it's going to be soon, but it really wouldn't surprise me if it was at least a month or two, maybe late July or August, before we see anything about Cunning Stunts DLC. Okay, up next, by far the next most set of popular questions asked all had to do about the three unreleased vehicles: the Grotti X80 Proto, the Pfister 811, and then the Debauchee 770. Again, there were about 20 or 30 questions just on these vehicles alone, and the majority of them are, when do you believe they're going to be coming out? Cunning Stunts, another DLC. So I'm going to be talking about that right now. I've briefly touched on it in previous videos, and my best guess is I have absolutely no idea. I've stated that there's two outcomes to the release of these cars. Number one is that Rockstar is going to do them on a semi-weekly basis, where over the next few weeks we see the announcement of, Legendary Motorsports getting new stock into their, websites or inventory. And then we'll see one car released after another. Or it is true that they are saving this for a future update like the Cunning Stunts DLC. That we don't know. Obviously, I don't have any insider information from Rockstar. But obviously what we do know is that these cars are going to be coming into the game sometime soon. I'm just confused as to why Rockstar added them with this DLC without the intentions of making them live in this DLC. But I actually think this is a win-win situation. Now, there's some people out there that viscerally like to complain at the fact that people get these cars and get to test them out. But I actually think it's good for both parties, because of the videos that I've done talking about the cars. You guys get to see them in a little bit of a better light. We've obviously unveiled multiple things about these vehicles, like the price, some of their performance metrics and videos that I've done. So it can give you a better idea of actually when these cars come into the game if you want to purchase them or not. You're not like going to be going into it blind like we were with a lot of the vehicles and further adventures in Finance and Felony. And that's ultimately why I do those buyer beware videos a day or two after the DLC. But now when the cars are in the files and we get to test them out before, we really do get the chance to say, okay, are these going to be worth it based off of the price? How do I think they're going to perform? So yeah, I do think it's a win-win situation for everyone. Rockstar builds the hype around, future updates. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, they do that all the time. They build hype on their own newswire by teasing the DLCs. If there was an intention to build hype, they would just announce the DLC and we would just, wake up one day and it would be out. It's a win for the people who are looking to buy in these vehicles, possibly in the future, so they can know whether or not to save money or not. And then obviously it's a win for myself because I get to mod them on PC and have a lot of fun driving them around and do some cool experiments with them, testing them out, seeing how they work, customizing them. So at the end of the day, I have no clue when these vehicles are going to be released. I think it's weird what Rockstar did, adding them into the game with no intention of releasing them on a weekly schedule, at least that we know of yet. But if they are saving them for a future update like Cunning Stunts, I don't think I'm going to be complaining because these vehicles are pretty awesome. Okay, we got a few more questions from several individuals who stated, do you think the Finance and Felony DLC lived up to the hype? There was definitely a lot of hype for this DLC, and for the most part, I think Rockstar definitely delivered with their promise to, come out with an epic DLC. I love a lot of the new content in the update itself. The CEO stuff is really cool. The offices, the warehouse, all of that. I think the only thing that's going to turn off a bunch of people from this update is the pricing itself. A lot of the stuff in this update is expensive. There's no doubt about that. It is a very expensive DLC. But, did you not expect that when we were talking about it and for all the warning videos I made saying this DLC is going to cost you $20 million, something along those lines to buy everything. So I think there was plenty of warning about it. If the name of the DLC itself didn't give that away, Finance and Felony, that was going to be expensive. But I think it fixed a lot of great things, added a lot of new content, and there were a bunch of great features that were, added in this update that I think are going to last us for a while in Grand Theft Auto Online. Our next question comes from Hunted Pie, who tweets at me, #AskBoss, what was your favorite and least favorite part of the Finance and Felony DLC? So I guess my favorite part is just all the CEO stuff. I've done so many live streams over the past few days that have been a blast, that have been so much fun regarding the buying and selling missions. However, that also includes my least favorite part. Two things about the DLC that I don't like. Number one, you have to do it in public lobbies. I think that's dumb. I think that there's just in the cases like myself when I'm streaming, it turns into a bunch of T-1000 Terminators just trying to hunt me down and stop me no matter what I do, which when you get a lobby of 30 people trying to do that, it's kind of crazy. And number two, I think the associates are undervalued for the work they do. Yes, they don't have to buy the office. Yes, they don't have to buy the warehouse, but I think they're very underpaid, and I think that they don't get the recognition they deserve monetarily for doing, in many cases, a lot of the work in these buying and selling missions. That's a great segue into our next question, which comes from Default. He states, in your opinion, is the CEO system good for making money or is heist better? #AskBoss. So in terms of making money, heists are definitely better than the CEO warehouse buying and selling stuff. There's no doubt about that. For the money you get, for the time it takes, as far as what your associates get, for the heist, it would be your teammates. So basically, if you wanted to fill up a full warehouse, I know that I've gotten a third of a warehouse full in about 2.5 hours. And I might be kind of slow. I might be kind of having fun on a live stream. So let's say that filling up a full warehouse takes 7 or 8 hours. When you sell all the profit, it's going to be somewhere around $1.5 million. Your associates are only getting $10,000 at a minimum. Whereas with heist, you split the profit evenly 4 ways, at least if your leader does. So if you do heist that at a maximum might take you 5 hours, the host is ultimately going to get nearly the same amount of money. And then the members are almost going to get an equal amount of money as you as well. So you're getting more money, it's taking less time, and the people you're playing with are getting more money as well. However, on a fun factor standpoint, I think the CEO stuff is way more fun. I think that the heist system is way too much on like a linear rail system. And I really don't like that, the way it takes you from basically point A to point B. And I know that the CEO stuff is the exact same way, but there's more variety to it. You don't know which kind of mission you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get a call for a rare special item. With heists, we know what's going to happen. They're basically just very scripted cinematic missions. And there's no problem with that because heists are cool, and at the time they were epic. But I think right now the CEO stuff is way more fun, even if it does take you more time, and even if you're not getting as much money. Our next question comes from Corey, and he has the same logo as me, which is kind of interesting. So he tweets, apart from the new creator and races we will be getting in the Cunning Stunts DLC, what do you think will be added? Hashtag AskBoss. That's a good question. So I highly doubt that Rockstar would release the Cunning Stunts update and then have no other new content. That just wouldn't seem like the Rockstar way. So I would imagine, and this is just my guess, we would get some cool clothing. I'm hoping we would get like epic racing suits and racing jackets and, you know, racing boots and gloves and shoes. I'm also hoping we would get some cool helmets that are like specifically designed for racing vehicles. Some new accessories would be great as well. Some vehicle features would be super neat. Maybe some new upgrades in the Los Santos custom shop to actually make our vehicles stunt ready, which I think would be kind of nice. And that's a great segue into another question, which is asked by Russell. What vehicles would you like to see stuntified in Cunning Stunts? Hashtag AskBoss. So obviously I'd like to see the fair share of sports and supercars get their own upgrades. That would be kind of neat. It'll all depend on what Rockstar's plan is, but I'd love to see them add some crazy vehicles from like older GTAs, retro GTAs. So do you guys remember like the Blood Ring Banger from GTA San Andreas? It was a rally car that was used in the arena actually. So if they could do some cool cars like that, I think that would be really epic. Not only would it be a super throwback to San Andreas, but it would also be really epic because those cars in San Andreas were so fast, so powerful, so little menacing little race cars, and they were really epic. All right, and our last question today comes from Yogin QA. She tweets at me, hashtag AskBoss. Do you think we'll get a trailer for a new Rockstar game at E3? That's right, E3 is just, well, really a day away before it starts. So yeah, that is the theory, that Rockstar is going to release a new game at E3, or announce a new game, I should say. In what form or fashion they're going to do that, I have no clue. I don't know if it's going to be anything related to Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, or Red Dead 3. That seems to be the direction people are pointing at. Or another game like Max Payne, Bully. Who knows? I think that is going to be the case, and if there is, I'll be sure to cover it. I'll be sure to make some videos on that for you guys. Should be pretty epic. But anyways, that's all the questions that I'm going to be tackling in this week's Q&A video. Once again, hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating on the video. That would be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.